We got him, baby. Won't it be Ryan the Great? And today we are talking. The Sixers finally got Paul George, baby. Let's go. It is currently 4:09 a.m. in the morning, and I'm filming this video. I'm so freaking excited, but also mad because I gotta film this video, and I should be sleeping right now. But I'm so freaking pumped. The Sixers have signed Paul George to a 4-year, $212 million extension, baby. You know I had to put on the Joel Embiid jersey for this one. It is not Joel Embiid. It is not Tyrese Maxey. It is Paul George. Who's stopping that? I don't know who's stopping it. I'm not sure if you're stopping them if they're the Boston Celtics. I don't know if you're the New York Knicks if you're stopping them. I know damn well that the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Orlando Magic, or the Indiana Pacers are not stopping my Philadelphia 76ers now, baby. That Paul George has stepped up to the plate, and he has came over to the Philadelphia area. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to be talking about the full reaction to this. We're going to be asking the question, and we're going to be answering the question: are the Sixers now the favorite to take on the Boston Celtics? Are they the biggest threat to the Boston Celtics? We'll react to all the other moves, and we will talk about any other future moves to come. So let's get right into it. But before we get right into it, guys, make sure you guys subscribe with your post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brother in the Great Vlogs. Make sure you subscribe to my second channel at Ryan the Kai Great. Make sure you guys go find me on X RTG. Make sure you guys go find me on TikTok at Ryan the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the Star 7 podcast. Make sure you guys go find me on Twitter at Ryan the Great Podcast. For you, ladies and gentlemen, in the video, let's roll that intro.
Hey, come on, Stotty. Stop! Red flag! First pitch! Bring him in! Yeah!
Oh, damn. Alright, let's get into the video. So starting off, we're going to give our full reaction to it, and then we'll get into all the other questions that I have posed. Now, let's get the full reaction to Paul George signing with the Sixers. First of all, it was expected that he was going to be with the Sixers. They were going to give him the full max contract. Obviously, the Clippers not willing to give him a full max, and then the Orlando Magic, they obviously signed Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to a 3-year, $66 million extension, $22 million per year. They were not really going to be able to get Paul George while they were giving up those big of contracts. It didn't look like right after that deal they were going to be giving him that contract. He obviously did not. Now, for the people that are saying that this is an overpay, I might remind you that the Sixers had the most cap space in this free agency year, so they were able to afford Paul George. Whether you like to say this is an overpay or not, they could afford to do it, and they did do it. This is really their last chance to make a championship push. They are spending the money that they have to spend to try and get that championship push. I don't really care what you say, that this is an overpay or not. Whether you want to say it or not, it happened, and this is the last chance the Sixers are really going to have with Joel Embiid getting into his 30s, and obviously with his knee problems, he is not going to be lasting at, till LeBron years, if you want to say that. Now, moving on, people are saying that he's a bit washed. He's 34 years old, and, he's going to be going, his contract will end in his age 38 season. Well, let me remind you that he did average 22 points per game last year while he was playing with James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook off the bench, Zubac, Terrence Mann, guys like that. Those guys were getting up a lot of shots. Not saying Paul George didn't get up a lot of shots last season, but he could have gotten up even more, saying he didn't have to have all these other guys there taking shots with him on the basketball court. Now, injuries people are going to say that's a concern. He did play in 74 games last year, so that is a bit of optimism there. Now, with the playoff performance he had last year, he averaged 19 points per game in 5-6 games played, whatever it was, against the Dallas Mavericks. Kawhi Leonard was not really in there during that playoff series. Russell Westbrook did not show up. James Harden did not show up. All the attention was focused towards Paul George. I don't really want to hear that he was, didn't really have that good of a playoff series, because of the fact that the most of the attention was focused on him. He also had a bit of injury problem, so we will give him a pass there. At least I will. But yeah, when 2020 and 2021, now I understand that was a few years ago, in his other playoff performance, he did average 26 points per game in about 16 or 19 games played. Don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but it was definitely one of those two. So yeah, I'm not really going to give him that much BS or, criticize him that much for any playoff performance, because we have known him in the past to had some half-decent playoff performances, and I think that he will be able to produce with the Philadelphia 76ers, especially being probably the third option. I still think the Sixers are in a great place. They still have some cap space to where they can either bring back DeAnthony Melton or Buddy Hield. I think that DeAnthony Melton would probably be the option that I would choose, just because Buddy Hield has a very good skill set. He has the skill set of really he can do anything on the court offensively, and I think with just Anthony Melton, you only really need a catch and shoot guy. With the fact that you now have Paul George, you brought Kelly Oubre back, you have Eric Gordon, Embiid, Maxey, yada yada yada. You don't really need Buddy Hield for the contract that he really would probably be asking for. I think Anthony Melton obviously is going to be worth a bit less than Buddy Hield, and the production that you really need from one of these two guys, I think DeAnthony Melton would probably be the best choice to go with. He's also been here a bit longer. I understand he did have some injury problems last year, but I don't expect that to continue, because I haven't really heard much of DeAnthony Melton being injury prone really throughout his entire career. So I think that was just a bad year for him. Now, I want to get into actually what's going to happen on the basketball court. I think that Paul George is just going to be a very big major upgrade over a guy like a Tobias Harris, because of the fact that Paul George and Tobias Harris, I don't want to say they have the same play style, but they kind of do the same things. It's just that Paul George obviously does those a lot better. I think him and Joel Embiid are going to have a very good relationship on the basketball court, because of the fact that Joel Embiid, when he is double teamed, does like to kick it out to the wing. He does kick it out to the corner at times, but he does like to kick it out to the wing for the most part. And now teams knowing that you have an all-star wing like Paul George, double teams are going to come in less, and Joel Embiid one-on-one is probably the most dominant player in the NBA. And if he does get a double team, you can kick it out right to Paul George, who can either shoot the three efficiently or drive to the basket, and he can get an easy layup or dunk or whatever he really wants to do in that situation. So that is going to be a problem there. Now, how he will work out with Tyrese Maxey is going to be a bit of a question, because Tyrese Maxey is the second option on this team. Paul George obviously getting paid $53 million per year. You don't really pay $53 million per season for a guy who is going to be a third option on your team. So the amount of shots that these guys are going to be getting per game is going to be very interesting. I expect Nick Nurse to be able to get it done, and I think Paul George knows that Tyrese Maxey, or at least going into his age 34, 35 season, whatever he's going into, I think Paul George knows that Tyrese Maxey is the second option on this team, and the Sixers intend for him to be growing into a superstar caliber player, and I think Paul George will know that. But nonetheless, I think the relationship between Joel Embiid and Paul George on the court will be very good, but him and Tyrese Maxey remains to be seen, though I don't expect there to be too many, if any, problems at all. Now, are the Philadelphia 76ers the biggest threat to the Boston Celtics currently? Right now, I think it's a race between them and the New York Knicks. Right now, I would say it's a tie. I'm not trying to be biased here about this, but I do think the Knicks have a lot more depth and really can attack you from anywhere, but really they are a small team now. Like last year, they were the bigger team. They're the smaller team with the Philadelphia 76ers. Their big men are Mitchell Robinson, Jericho Sims, not any disrespect to those guys, but they are not really that enforcer, rebounder type that Isaiah Hartenstein was. He's most likely going to be moving on. Apparently, he's in talks with the Oklahoma City Thunder as I speak right now. So yeah, they'll probably end up losing him. And the Sixers just signed Andre Drummond. You know what Joel Embiid can do. He always averages around 10 rebounds per game. So you have those two guys right there. You have some very good depth pieces at the center spot. So, your depth pieces might not be as better than the Knicks, but the Sixers had very good depth last year. When the Knicks were injured, they were pretty equal in the depth chart, in my opinion, but the Knicks were a bit better team, and they were able to win most of their games off of good rebounding from the Philadelphia 76ers. So right now, depends on, what happens in free agency. If the Sixers maybe have to, lose some guys, or the Knicks are able to go somehow get a center, then, my opinion could change. But as of, 4:23 a.m., on Monday, July 1st. That is how I pretty much say it. Now, I'm going to do a quick reaction to all the other moves, then we'll talk about is there more moves to come for the Sixers. So, reaction to the other moves that we saw, well, technically yesterday. Andre Drummond, I love this move by the Sixers. I was very upset when they had to trade him away for James Harden, because I thought that he was a really good rebounder. And once again, as I mentioned, I think one of the reasons the Sixers lost against the Knicks was because of the fact that they couldn't rebound for nothing. I think he will be able to fix that. He's not a scorer, but he doesn't have to be at all. All he really has to do is rebound, something that he really only had to do in his first stint in Philadelphia, so I expect him to do no different. Now, talking about Eric Gordon, I mean, he's a wing. He shot 37% from three, played in 68 games last year, averaged 11 points per game. He might be washed, but if he can be about 70% of what Nicholas Batum was, then I really don't have a problem with this signing. It's only a one-year deal. It's a veteran minimum, I think it is. So not a low risk, high reward type of situation here for the Sixers. Obviously, he has a relationship with Daryl Morey, probably why he was brought onto the roster in the first place, but I digress. And I'm a little sad that Batum is leaving. I definitely would have taken him over Eric Gordon, but what are you going to do? Now, Kelly Oubre Jr., I think it was really between him or Miles Bridges, and I obviously, as a Sixers fan, and I think any Sixers fan would have chosen Kelly Oubre Jr. Obviously, he doesn't really have those off-the-court issues that Miles Bridges has, but nonetheless, I think when you talk about impact, I think he obviously had a lot better of a season than Miles Bridges. Obviously, Miles Bridges got a lot more shots with the Charlotte Hornets last year, but when it comes to Kelly Oubre Jr., had a career resurgence. I mean, he can really do anything on the court. He can shoot. He can blow by you. He can shoot the mid-range. He can play very good defense. He averaged a steal per game last year. I think the player option works out for both teams because if he doesn't have really a good season and he opts in, it gives the Sixers more flexibility to trade him. And obviously, if he opts out and the Sixers can't really afford him, then it is what it is. But I think that works out well. Now, is there any more moves to come? Well, obviously, we lost Alan Caldwell-Pope. I was pretty sad about that, but he did sign for $22 million per year with the Orlando Magic with a player option on that third season. That is a bit of a hefty price, so I think I'm good there. I'm not that upset about it. I would think Klay Thompson is out of the question now. Obviously, he is meeting with the Philadelphia 76ers. I never really thought of him as a real possibility. I just think him and the Clippers and the Sixers were just kind of backups to the Lakers and the Dallas Mavericks. I think Klay will be going to the Dallas Mavericks though, unless LeBron James dangles whatever in front of his head. Apparently he called him at the very start of free agency, trying to lure him over. I just mentioned Miles Bridges. I don't think that's going to happen anymore because of the fact that you just signed Kelly Oubre Jr. I would think now the Sixers would probably try and work on getting one more forward. I guess the lineup as of now, saying you re-signed Anthony Melton or Buddy Hield, would probably be just Maxey, Hield, or Melton, whichever one you want to throw in there. Oubre, Paul George, and Embiid. You have some depth pieces, but I feel like, you obviously, there's a lot of guys you have to re-sign. Kyle Lowry's probably going to be re-signing, so that's going to be your backup point guard. So you're going to have to work a bit there. I expect Daryl Morey to get it done in the next coming days and help fill out our roster. But yeah, that'll do it for this video, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe to the post notifications on. Go subscribe to my brotherly great blogs. Make sure you guys subscribe to my second channel at Around the Kite Great. Make sure you guys go follow me at RTG. Make sure you guys go follow me at TikTok at Around the Great RTG. Make sure you guys go listen to the latest edition of the CR7 podcast. And yeah, this is crazy. 4:27 a.m. I'm getting done this video, and I'll probably get done putting all the clips together in like 4:45 or whatever. So yeah, this video is literally going to be posted at 5 a.m. on the West Coast, so it is what it is. Yeah, make sure you guys follow me on Twitter on the Great Podcast, and as always, Ryan the Great out. Peace.